2nd, 2024. Would you all please join me in the pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May we please have roll call.
Mayor Pro Tem Scott Funk,
Present.
Councilmember Liz Silva,
Present.
Councilmember Lorraine Murphy,
Present.
Councilmember Mario Roscoe,
Present.
and Mayor Jose Rios.
Present. All right, moving on to presentations tonight. First presentation is the introduction of the new Youth Council Commissioners for year 2024-2025. Who's doing that? Carmen, we don't have, you must be muted.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Now you can.
Okay. I can't see everybody in the room, but we are proud to introduce the newest selected youth commissioners that will be starting their summer, well, actually are now in the middle of their summer immersion. I know they've got some meetings scheduled with some of you council members and mayor, and so we're excited to introduce them. Are they, can they come up to the room? To the podium? Sorry.
Come to the podium, please.
And then just introduce yourselves.
Hi, everyone. My name is Emily Mendez, and I'm an incoming senior, and I am I'm honored to be this year's commissioner.
Thank you, Emily.
Hi. Hello, everyone. Hi, my name is Valeria Cardenas. I'm also an upcoming senior this year, and I'm very happy to be here and happy to be this year's youth commissioner.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. So we're excited to have them on board and excited to see what they are going to do in this year as they lead the GYC. And they will start attending the regular scheduled meetings once school starts. So they get to enjoy the rest of their summer. And when school starts, they will be joining us for the council meetings. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you. Is that it? All right, and I believe next is introduction of new Public Works summer intern. Is that you, Patrick, or is that Carmen again?
Yes, Mayor Rios, council members. Oh, just pull up the slide, please. So having a Public Works intern program is a real pride point for me. And this is the 6th summer where we've had an intern. And I have a slide that's coming up that basically lists, here's who's the different interns. And I've stayed in touch with some of the interns. Let's see. So for instance, Emily Sanchez, summer of 2021, she started as assistant planner at the city of Moraga about 2 months ago. Brianna, next year, she just started at Caltrans as a transportation planner after getting a degree in urban planning at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. And another one would be Annie, who was our intern last summer and is now an intern with auto construction on our community center site. Yes, there's a slight typo where our current intern is Juan Huerta, and it should say summer of 2024. He came to us in April, graduated from San Jose State a year ago with a degree in civil engineering, Gonzales High grad 5 years ago. Plus or minus, but anyway, lives in Gonzales. And I guess I'll close with, well, Juan's done a great job. They interns, I say I throw them in the deep end of the GIS pool and figure it out. And they help tremendously with our water sewer mapping. Another one is helping the front office staff and basically being a backup. And let's see, I'm going to let Juan say a few words, but I do want to say, what was it, about 10 days ago, he interviewed at the city of Soledad for its assistant engineer position. I got the call the next day that he's the top candidate. Nice. And they've extended him an employment offer to go work for the city of Soledad as an assistant engineer.
Wow, congrats.
All right. Hi, my name is Juan. I've been intern here around 3 months or so. I actually applied for a maintenance worker position because I was having trouble after I graduated from San Jose finding a job, and Patrick was kind enough to bring me on as an intern. It's been really helpful. I've learned a lot. The people here are great. It's a great place to work, and I just want to say thanks to City Gonzalez and to Patrick for having me on here.
Awesome. Congrats.
So get all your training down there and then come back.
That's right.
All right. Moving on the agenda here, we have Salinas Valley Health Chief Executive Officer introduction.
So good afternoon, City Council. My name is Joel Hernandez Laguna. I have the fortunate of serving on the Salinas Valley Health Board of Directors. So I represent the areas of part of Prunedale, some of Salinas and all of Gonzalez. So a few months ago, I was here letting you know the conditions and the situation of our search process for the new president CEO at the institution. So I'm happy to come back and let you know that we completed that search. So it was a national search. So out of many applications, we got 85 candidates. The search committee really reviewed 9 of those strong candidates. And so the search committee was composed of several representatives from the district. And after intensive search and a lot of interviews and a lot of processes, the board decided to let Dr. Radner, who was the president interim executive, chief executive officer, he became our permanent chief executive officer and president. So I'm here to kind of give you an update, but also to introduce Dr. Radner and tell you a little bit more about some of the work that we're doing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I'd really like to thank the City Council for allowing me to come and speak to you for just a couple minutes. So I thought what I would do is very quickly just introduce myself, talk a little bit about what we're doing overall in healthcare and about our presence here in Gonzalez. So I've been in this community since 1994. I'm an infectious disease physician. I still practice. I work at the county. I run the HIV and infectious disease clinic. I'm tuberculosis controller for the county. I've seen patients at all the hospitals for many years. And about 12 or 14 years ago, I became involved in the administration. And as Joel said, I was fortunate enough to be chosen to be the interim chief executive officer of Salinas Valley Health. I was the interim around December, and the end of June, I became the permanent president and CEO, which is just an incredible honor. I just say a few things about our healthcare system. I mean, we consider ourselves a system, not just a hospital. We're a healthcare district, and we have 5 elected board members. Joel represents Gonzalez and what we call Zone 5. And I'll tell you, he's an incredible advocate for the city. So just if anybody questions it, come to our board meetings. We basically kind of think about the majority of our healthcare system. It has 2 divisions. One is our hospital, which we're very proud of, Salinas Valley Health Medical Center, which is about a 200-bed hospital where I'm convinced we provide incredible care. And we've been nationally recognized, even in the last few months, by the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid as what's called a 5-star hospital for quality. We're a Leapfrog A, which is a national quality indicator. We provide incredible services, and we're very proud of our hospital. And then in parallel, we have a clinic system that's really pretty enormous now. We have 34 specialists at 25 locations. We've got almost 200 providers in our clinic system, and we anticipate close to 700,000 patient encounters. So we have an incredibly broad system, and part of our system, going into the last part, I'll talk a little bit about our presence in Gonzalez. We have the Taylor Family Farms Health and Wellness Center, which there's been a misconception for many years that we only take care of Taylor Farms employees, but it's not. It's a community clinic, and it's what's called a hospital-based rural health clinic. We're fortunate to have 3 active providers now, 3 MDs. We've got a couple of PAs in the clinic. Dr. Christine Ponzu, many people know in Gonzalez, recently retired. We've actually just recruited Dr. Erica Garcia, who does obstetrics and family practice, and Dr. Amanda Jackson came back to the community, and she's joined our clinic. So it's really a pretty amazing clinic, and we're going to expand services to provide OB care, prenatal care, postnatal care. Dr. Garcia will be delivering babies. And we have a lot of capacity in this clinic, and it's really kind of shocking. I talk to people all over the state, all over the country. You can't get a primary care provider. You can't get one in Monterey right now. You can get a primary care provider right away in our clinic system. They're outstanding doctors. So it's really kind of shocking that Gonzales has more access to primary care than really anywhere else in the county right now. And we're continuing to expand. I just want to say, we also think that center, it's got a large educational conference room. We love to have community events there. We can hold up to 40 people. We have a way to expand it if need be. We've had various conferences there, and we're continuing to expand services in that clinic. And then I guess the last thing I'd say, we also have a number of community initiatives. So we're working through. We did what's called a community health fair in Salinas. Couple of months ago, we had 2,000 people come out, and we have one scheduled for early October as well. Here in Gonzales, we're going to have the mobile clinic there. We're going to have educational materials. We're going to be giving away things, and we really want to educate people to our presence in the community. So I guess the last thing I want to say is I've been told by our Blue Zones people that Gonzales has been incredibly is supportive of Blue Zones, particularly Carmen has just been an outstanding contributor, and we're just really proud to have the interaction with Blue Zones. So I'm going to stop and I'm happy to answer questions now or later. You can always reach me. You can always reach Joel. We're always open to getting suggestions and input and trying to expand our presence and help at a community level here. So I think I'll stop. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody from the board have any questions?
Yeah.
I have a real quick one.
Okay, we'll go.
Please. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Liz Silva.
Yeah.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
I think it helps to have someone with a local knowledge to be head of the system. A real quick question, and I'm
Sure.
probably not the only one that has the thoughts. Why does it take so long to get an appointment?
Well,
My cousin made an appointment today, and it's not till February 14th.
where did they make that appointment? At the Taylor
Taylor,
Farms Clinic?
Yes.
Well, we have 2 new providers coming again, and we'll try to accelerate that, but it really shouldn't be taking that long right now.
I agree.
So I'm not sure that that's very inconsistent with our understanding. I mean, getting doctors is very difficult. Getting providers is difficult. As I've said, we have 4 active providers. We have 2 more MDs coming. We have 4 or 5 doctors. I've actually got a couple of doctors from Natividad who are doing shifts to see if this is where they want to come. And I honestly didn't realize it was that far out. Our understanding is it's a lot faster. So we will work on that. And it's just a matter of having providers. We have extended hours, as you probably know. We run till 7 Monday through Thursday. We're open on Saturdays, and we're doing everything we can to expand the services.
Well, the providers are excellent when they do provide the service. And when you
Got it.
try to schedule an appointment, if you need an appointment in 3 months, you can't make it in 3 months because the earliest you can get right now is February. And I know that there's limitations because of the providers, and I'm glad to hear that we have a couple of new doctors coming on board. And I hope that lessens the wait time for a lot of people who kind of get antsy. It's like, well, the doctor said I need to be back here in 3 months. How come it's going to take 6 or 7 months?
Yeah,
So
it shouldn't. And I apologize, and we're going to get that better.
maybe sending some kind of information either through our city kiosk to let the people know that services are being enhanced and we are getting more doctors on board to ease their anxiety for the wait. I mean, last week, 2 weeks ago, I was lucky enough, there's somebody canceled. I was able to get my mother in at the end of the day. She's going to be 95 years old. So when you're working with an elderly population, they can't wait 6 months because they've got pain in their knees. What do you, I don't want to take her to the emergency room because it doesn't require an emergency room visit, but thank you so much for your time and thank you for your honesty.
And thank you. And we will do better, I promise.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you and welcome on board. All right, moving on the agenda, business from the public. Business from the public not on the agenda. Any member of the public may address the council for a period not to exceed 3 minutes on any item not in the agenda. Council will listen to all communications, but will take no action nor comment on it.
Henry Martinez, 112 10th Street. We were having a wonderful picnic party, family outing at our house on 10th Street. After we went to the park and donated lots of toys to the community, let the kids play games, we go home about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, set up our party. We have lots of people come to our house, and lo and behold, more than 9 officers from Gonzales PD, including our sergeant here, came to our house, singling out my son, Henry Martinez Jr., and my granddaughter for, I guess, a ticket. And next thing I know, that I get hit by Mendoza, the sergeant, and Mendoza. After they started trying to pull my son out of the property to put him into the sidewalk to arrest him. They were trying to pull him out. Then the sergeant turns around, shoves, or someone shoves my daughter-in-law to the ground. The sergeant in question threatened my 20-week pregnant daughter with a big belly that was filming me getting hit, threatening her to slam her on the phone on the floor after he hits me. Huh? Yeah. And then that's Perez on the front line too. That's after Sergeant hit me.
Yeah.
This is the truth. What you guys don't see. Yeah, he hit me twice. And here he is hitting me. Under the California Constitution, it's 837. I have the right to citizen arrest anybody that physically attacks me. Okay?
Thank you.
You can tell the chief 837 under the Constitution of California, when I demanded arrest, you guys should have acted.
I'm Henry Martinez III from 1610 Street. And what I experienced on 4th of July, I may have some anger issues, but I was doing right for me to protect my sister while Chris pulled out his handgun, right to fire on, including a taser, to protect my sister, not to get arrested. And I'm calling myself the brute because I'm the shield of this family. And I'm sorry, police. You guys been at it for at least 20 years now, going after my parents. And I want to do what's right for this town. And when Grandpa said sinister arrest, you guys should have done it and do what's right. And I ain't trying not to be mean or anything, but my heart is raising because of these police. And as you see what I'm wearing represents the Army, when I'm going in pretty soon, or the Marines. I want to do what's right for me. And I don't want to have to leave my family, because what if the police shows up at the house again while I'm not there? I have rights to protect my parents, even when I'm in the Army. If any of you guys have showed up to the house, I'm sorry, but freedom of speech, I hate you guys. And stay away from my parents. I want you guys gone forever. I've been having this stress for 10 years. I was living in Paso during the time. And Paso had done nothing for me because with all the stress I had, I ended up fainting because of it. Because I've been thinking about what's been going on with my family and my mom, my dad, and my grandpa, and my friends, and my sister as well. All you guys should be gone hire new cops that is not corrupted. So do what's right, get your minds into it. Sign Mendoza and Mendoza, but you guys need to go. And Perez. Thank you.
Thank you.
April Martinez, 116 10th Street. On July 4th, like my father-in-law said, we were at the park, giving away our toys, letting the kids have fun. We left the park around 4, got home, started setting up for our gathering with the neighborhood and neighbors and family. And then around 9:30 PM, 9+ officers come asking for my husband and my daughter by their names. And then all of us, one of them put hands on my daughter and my husband. And that's when me and my son came out to protect my husband and my daughter. And then lo and behold, when I was protecting my son, getting back from the cops, because they were going after him with tasers. And my sister that's pregnant, they were gonna throw her to the floor and taser. She's pregnant, high risk. That's not, why you even say that to a pregnant woman? And then me, on the other hand, when I went to go protect my son, get him back from the cops, I get hit in the face with the taser. And got hit in the back by Malgoza and Perez. And I have video of me getting hit too. By Malgoza and being tased by Perez. I pushed my son away so they don't arrest him. This is gonna arm me. Okay. And this has been going, this harassment from the cops been going on since they took my kids.
Can you guys either do one or the other? Because
Okay,
I'm sorry, April, it really gets hard then to
I know.
hear you clearly when I've got that other thing going. Sorry, old man, hard of hearing.
It's okay. It's
Okay, I apologize.
It's okay. So yeah, I get hit in the face with a taser. My husband jumps over me because they knocked me to the ground. As I was getting up, I was getting tased in the back by Perez. While pushing my son away so he doesn't get in trouble, because he is going to the military and all these cops are doing is trying to get to my son and tase him and arrest him for protecting me, my daughter, his dad, his grandpa. And then this sergeant over here was just standing there after looking at me like, what are you gonna do about it? And then we wanted Malgoza and Perez under citizen arrest and nobody did crap about it. So guess what? I filed complaints against the cops. And if they don't, if nothing happens to them, I'm going higher than City of Gonzales. Sorry. But this is not gonna happen to my family again. I'm getting sick and tired of these cops harassing me and my family. And especially Mendoza, Malgoza, and Perez, they need to go. I'm gonna have someone serve them papers, restraining orders and all that.
Thank you.
Ok, buenas tardes, mi nombre es Elvira.
Good afternoon, my name is Elvira.
Venía aquí sobre el día que pasó lo de los cohetes. A mi hijo me le dieron un tiquete.
I'm
Más-
here,
Que a mi hijo me dieron un tiquete por mi hijo supuestamente por estar tronando cohetes ilegales.
I'm here because my son got a ticket on the day for using illegal fireworks.
Ujú. Pero el problema es que yo quiero saber que me dijeron que tenían imágenes de él tronando los cohetes.
The issue is, the problem is that they mentioned that they had pictures of him
using illegal fireworks. Ok, entonces, yo pienso que también sería por eso o sería porque mi niño estaba donde estaba pasando todo con los vecinos. Él miró todo lo que pasó, entonces había más personas con él mirando todo, era familiar. Y nada más los policías se fueron directamente con mi niño.
I think that this issue is because he was around where everything was going on, where the party was going on. And I feel like the police were aiming my son, at my son.
Y luego, cuando yo les hice una pregunta, de hecho, el oficial que me dio el ticket se portó bien, ¿verdad? Pero cuando yo les hice una pregunta que si no firmaba yo el tiquete, ¿qué podría pasar? ¿Verdad? Entonces, estaba otro policía con él, quien era el que me estaba dando el tiquete, me dijo que me podían arrestar, que me podían esposar y me podían llevar a la cárcel. Sí. Oh, sí, que el policía que me dio el tiquete estaba tranquilo, ¿verdad? Entonces,
cop that gave me the ticket was calm and nice.
yo le hice una pregunta que si yo me negaba a firmar el tiquete, ¿qué pasaba?
Questioned him if I did not sign the ticket, what would happen?
Entonces estaba otro oficial que no era el que me estaba dando el tiquete ni no tenía conversación con él ni nada.
And there was another cop present that did not give me the ticket. He was just listening.
Y fue el que me dijo que me podían arrestar, que me podían esposar y me podían llevar a la cárcel si no firmaba el tiquete.
And he's the one that answered to my question that if I did not sign, I was going to get arrested and they were going to take me and incarcerate me.
Ajá. Y entonces cuando estaban los policías, pues como le digo, Henry se armó y mi hijo miró todo, mi hijo miró cuando le estaban pegando a él y todo, y de hecho había familia y niños se espantaron, o sea, mi niña quedó espantada de 12 años, mi niña pues tiene 15 años.
My kids were present with everything that was going on. And all the hitting and were scared for what they saw.
Y como yo quiero saber, por digo, como me dijeron que tenían imágenes, no les quiero ver si me las pueden mostrar o fue porque él estaba presente o presenciando todo lo que estaba pasando con los vecinos, pues. Y como él miró todo, pues sería por eso.
I know if I can see the pictures that they're mentioning they have with my son, or is it because he was present at the incident?
Porque, y de hecho, hasta yo le dije en oficial que a lo mejor estaban ellos más enfocados ahí porque como tenían problemas con ellos, porque de hecho estaban tronando muchos cohetes acá al lado, enfrente, a todos lados y nada más estaban, casi la mayoría de policías estaban enfocados ahí. De hecho, hay un video donde se ve que están tronando cohetes ilegales y ellos pasan nada más muy rápido y ni siquiera le pusieron atención, entonces no sé por qué.
And my issue is also that
Go ahead, finish it.
if they were just focused on that incident because all our surroundings, they were also throwing illegal fireworks around us. And in fact, I have a video where one car passed by, one cop passed by where they were throwing the illegal fireworks and they just passed it and ignored the issue, but they were focused on nothing.
Nomás quería saber si sí me pueden mostrar esas pruebas. O sea, yo no me estoy negando a pagar el tiquete porque... Okay, ¿no? Porque de hecho yo hablé con Carmen y ella me dijo que sí podía mostrarme esas pruebas.
Disculpe, sus 3 minutos ya se completaron. No puede seguir comentando.
Ok, gracias.
Ajá.
Todo.
My name is Diego Ruiz and I live on 128 10th Street, right here in Gonzales. And what happened was the cops during like at 9, they came. There was many of them. They were all fighting. I witnessed when I don't know what officer hit Henry twice with his flashlight. And then I also have video proof of them just like there's more officers coming to the scene and there was illegal fireworks being fired up and they just went by like nothing. And this is the video. And I just wanna know like too, cause there was many like family and everyone around surrounding me. And I just wanna know that five or six cops just came to walk to me and just started to talk to me, started questioning me and everything. And that's when, like, I had to call my mom and everything for them to talk to them and then give us the ticket. And then that's when my mom got threatened to get arrested if she, like, didn't want to sign the ticket.
Thank you.
Mayor, council members, Ruben Zarita. As you know, we had another shed fire. That's 3 fires in 3 years. That's not good for a city our size. Could have been worse. Could have spread to another structure. Also, Salinas had a trailer or residence go up and fire. Also, guy in Salinas got his hand blown off. Santa Cruz had an apartment fire. So you can see this is becoming a pretty big problem. I did notice that all our notifications that we posted, that some of the lettering was too small, you couldn't read it. And I didn't notice any mention about the citations that were going to be issued. Residents have at least an advance notice that the citations are going to be issued. I didn't see any lettering on our banners. One of the main purposes of the ordinance, of course, was so that the drone could take pictures and issue the citations. And I'd like some type of, Carmen, I think we're gonna schedule one more meeting or maybe more is needed now to discuss how many citations were issued and the effect of them. And also how many homeowners got contacted by the police, because you guys know you're a big part of this, the enforcement. Another thing was, I did notice that on some of our area was pretty bad. Of course, it was bad all over, but the fire truck came up. Of course, they're doing fireworks. He came up, honked the horn. Of course, they stopped, but no contact with him. They just stopped. And then they'd start up 5 minutes later, and you guys were flashing their lights. They'd stop for a few minutes and they'd start right up. The other thing, I've been talking to some other residences, and I feel that we shouldn't have to be hosing down our roofs, our tarps, our covers for our cars, our covers for our boats to avoid it from catching on fire. I mean, everybody's doing it now because we're just so afraid of fire starting. And a tarp goes like that. And about the other thing is, Carmen, I would like to set up at least a couple more meetings, and maybe with some new members or fresh blood in there. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay.
Roman Barba. This year, last year I had a bunch of fireworks landed on my house. Remember, I brought a big old bag, but this year I didn't have a single one. It was crazy. So I was kind of in shock. The fireworks, yeah, it's a major problem and stuff, but I was just happy that there wasn't any fireworks. I wanted to talk about the glue that's all over the sidewalk in front of the post office. I mean, I'm sure everybody stepped in it, right? There's a tree there that needs to get cut down. It needs to get cut down. That's kind of embarrassing where you try to park there and you can't even see the lines because the tree sap got all over the road and all the white lines are all painted over with this glue. So that's, you can't even get a newspaper there in peace either, or the Monterey County Weekly, without stepping on this stuff, right? So hopefully, I think I talked about this last year and the year before, and that tree's still there. It's a mess. Also, I talked about the city pressure washing the sidewalks around town because, you know, the first impression in this town, it's filthy dirty when you go uptown. I mean, it's a mess. And Maria, your shop's one of them too. I hate to say it, but there's a bunch of weeds all over the shops over there, around some of the businesses, and it needs to be cleaned up. Another thing I wanted to talk about was that park on First Street next to the skate park. I went over there, there's a bench that's been there, it's a brand new bench, right? But you can't even sit on it because the weeds are going right through it, right? And there's trash all the way around it. And it's kind of sickening when little league teams come over from other cities to go out there and play and they see this place is a mess. Doesn't the city go out there and clean it every week? Or the guys go out there and clean it up? Or it's a mess. The weeds are this high at that park. So it's kind of an eyesore. I think all that needs to get pressure washed, sidewalks to be clean, but the whole town needs to be cleaned up. I mean, it's a mess. And I was talking about Jose the other day, right there where that park is with swimming to, maybe we could put tennis courts there or a basketball court there, you know, instead of having that all empty, all these weeds growing and no one's, it used to be beautiful grass there before. There used to be a sprinkler system there before. And the city used to maintain that park. It's a mess. So it needs to be clean. I mean, I could show you pictures of how it used to look before. It was nice. You can't go, and people have to walk through this every day. The kids have to go through there. People drive by this park every day. People go by it on the church. Another thing I want to talk about is the streets. When is the city going to fix the streets? I mean, you get on my bike, you can't even ride this bike on the street anymore. You have to get on the sidewalk.
Sorry, Mr. Barber, because
Thanks.
you interrupt. Thank you. One more, good.
Hello, my name is Richard Dansby. My wife Terry, we're new to Gonzales. We came here in 2010.
Welcome.
Pardon me? Well, I can't hear that well. So
It's okay,
anyway,
but I can hear you.
we came for the assessment that you were doing. That's what we came for originally. But when I see that you can make a complaint or concern. And my concern is when we come into town around that curve and our cars are backed up and there's going to be an accident one day because everyone flies around that corner, you know that. And but anyway, that's my concern. If you do, you got to put a light, something that signals to traffic coming, slow down, please. That's all complaint I have or concern.
Thank you.
Sir,
What,
which corner are you talking about?
The bridge, right?
on bridge?
Well, before you come to the 5th Street. Yeah, that curve, it's dangerous. It's seriously, if I survive, will you do a suit? Okay, but anyway.
Yeah.
All right, it's my turn. What a joke on the 4th of July. I had 9 officers come and specifically ask me for me. I walk out to see what's going on. They wanted me to go out into the street. And I was like, hell no. Be by myself with 9 officers? This is gonna turn into the next Rodney King. No way. So I walked away. Next thing you know it, I got hands being put on my shoulder and put on my daughter. Ain't no way I'm gonna let that fly. I told them to back off, don't touch me. And they pursued again. Next thing you know it, my daughter's being dragged by these cops. My son gets involved. My wife gets involved. The next thing you know, she's getting hit across the face with a taser gun and knocked to the floor. So what do? I jump over everybody. And oh boy, did we teach cops a lesson they're never gonna forget. Oh man, they called for mutual aid. We had Soledad, sheriffs, highway patrol, every single officers at my front doorstep. Man, what a show. But you know what? The moment I had all you guys there in my house, I put the word out. Gonzales lit up like there was no tomorrow. because there was no cops on the streets. Man, that was great. It was so excellent, made my day. But trust me, they will not touch me again. And trust me, they're more than welcome to come to my house because this time, my neighbors, my friends, my families, the people around my block came to my aid and were recording. We had over 100 people surrounding your officers. And oh boy, when those guns came out, we specifically told them, you shoot somebody, we're gonna have a problem. And what you guys do, create a police line, and you guys stood there for over an hour while the town went off like crazy. Oh, it was a glorious day for me. The best 4th of July ever. And you know what? They threatened to arrest me. No, they didn't even touch me. They left me alone, not a ticket, not nothing, not a proof, anything that they said that they had in my house. But unfortunately, you know where the fireworks came out of? The house next door. So what now? Your cops retreated like with their tails between their legs. Oh man, it was glorious. Not a single thing. Nobody said sorry. I called the city manager. 3 weeks in a row, not a thing. So today I filed a complete complaint against every single officers. But like I said, it's payback time. And every time your officers are gonna step out of line, I'm gonna be there. And I'm gonna push against your officers every single time until they learn to not step out of line.
Anyone else wishing to make a public comment? All right, then. It's on here. That's on here. You're in the right place. You're welcome. Okay, Estela, do we have any comments via Zoom?
No comments via Zoom.
Thank you. Mary, do we have any comments via email?
No comments via email.
Okay, that being said, we'll close the public comment period and move on to the consent agenda.
Mayor, I'd like to make a suggestion that we move item 18 from the regular agenda up before we do the consent. That's the California Breeze Assessment Election. We have the count ballots, and we have probably about 130 ballots. And so if we open that public hearing, receive comments, and then we can send our consultant into the back room over there to count the ballots that we've received. During the rest of the meeting, we'll have the results by the end of the meeting.
Okay, Mike, I was actually gonna move item number 21 up as well, because as part of that discussion, Mr. Funk will have to step off as he's a resident of California Breeze. So rather than send them out, bring them back, send them back out, I thought we could handle both 18.
Can't do both because we won't know whether or not we're going to do that California Breeze.
Yeah, they follow each other. They have,
Okay.
we resolve together.
Sorry, Scott.
Oh, I'm good.
Trying to save you some time. We're running up.
No worries.
On the diocese here. All right. So you want us to move it up before the consent agenda, item 18? Okay, we can do that, Mr. Attorney. We want to keep you on the good side of this. All right. Okay, on the regular agenda item, this is item number 18. Consider adoption, resolution number 2024-40, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Gonzales conducting a public hearing considering all assessment district protests, approving the engineer's report and confirming the levy of the California Breeze Benefit Assessment District numbers 1, 2, and 3 for the fiscal year 2024-2025, and 2, resolution number 2024-41, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Gonzales conducting public hearing considering all assessment district protests, the levy of the California Breeze Parks and Open Space Assessment Districts, numbers 1, 2, and 3 for fiscal year 2024-25. All right, Moving on to staff report. And at this point, we're gonna have to ask Mr. Funk to vacate the diocese as he's a member, resident of California Breeze. All right, is that Patrick?
Yes.
Okay,
Mayor Rios, council members, good evening.
good evening.
California Breeze Assessment Districts were the first assessment districts established by the city in the early 1990s when the subdivision went through its approval process. The formation documents for these two districts did not include an annual consumer price index adjustment to the maximum annual assessment amount. Therefore, the annual assessments have not kept up with inflation, and the city's general fund has been subsidizing district expenses for the last several years. Important to point out that the other 6 districts in the city have an annual CPI increase. So this effort to increase the California Breeze assessments, as mentioned by the city attorney, is being done in parallel with the annual assessment process based on the current maximum assessment, should this Prop 218 process to increase the maximum assessment fail. So staff presented a prior report at the June 3rd council meeting where we recommended that the new maximum assessment amount be phased in over a multi-year period for the 2 assessment districts. Ballots were mailed to all property owners on June 7th, which fulfills the minimum 45-day period prior to tonight's public hearing. And this public hearing is to consider objections and protests to the proposed assessments. At the conclusion of the public hearing, Rick Clark of Harris and Associates, our assessment engineer, will open and tabulate all submitted ballots with the help of Fire Chief Jason. And this item will be paused to allow tabulating the received ballots. Once counted, staff will return to the council to announce the results. And if the ballots submitted in opposition to the assessment increase do not exceed the number of ballots submitted in favor, the council may approve the attached resolutions. If the ballot measures are not approved, staff will move forward with the process of levying the existing California Breeze assessments for this fiscal year. So in conclusion, and as presented in the staff report, staff recommends the city council conduct a public hearing regarding the proposed assessment increase, accept public comment, accept any remaining ballots, and close the public hearing. Then continue the item to later in the meeting to allow staff and our consultant to tabulate all submitted ballots and reopen this item for staff to announce the outcome of the election. If the assessment increases are approved by a majority vote, the council can adopt the 2 resolutions establishing the new assessment rates. If there's a majority protest, the council will take no action. That concludes my presentation. Ready for questions.
Council, any questions? I don't, go ahead and open it to the public. Okay. At this point, the public may comment on this item on the agenda. So those of you that were here for that, I'm opening up the public comment period. So anyone wishing to comment on this item may do so at this time.
Again, my name is Richard Dansby. First of all, I want to say I'm thankful that we live here in Gonzales. When I was a kid, I picked strawberries. I was supposed to pick strawberries here. I came out and did onions with my mom one day, and I said, "Oh no, not again." But anyway, it's always, we used to pass through the main street to get down to Hunter Liggett and so forth with my father and so forth. So town of Gonzales has been in my heart for a long time. I was wondering the assessment. I'm a homeowner, so was my home assessed when we first moved here in 2010? That's the question I'm asking.
Okay.
Yes, it's been assessed every year.
So it was assessed every year. So, but because you had this note in here saying that something hadn't been done in 30 years or something of that nature, maybe I read it incorrectly. So I'm trying to figure out, so someone with a 2-bedroom story house like I have at 574 Jury Circle, their property is assessed the same as mine, which I'll do. The first was the Breeze, when you did the Breeze. And I noticed that the percentages, like for the first subject matter from $234.68 for it to go up to $287, the percentage that you used was 22.439%. That didn't scare me too much. But the second raise that you did for the following year in 25, you jumped up 27.4, almost 27 and a half. And these figures kind of scare me. So I don't know. And when I turned in my my sheet, I put on the back, I mean, I would submit to, as long as it's fair. The assessment is fair. You have any comment, dear? So again, I did all the math for what the percentages were, and the lowest percentage was for the workers. I think that's the second sheet, is for the city. That part, I'm willing to pay as much as possible for the workers, for the city. But when it comes to the assessment on that first part about the breeze, because the state of California says that you have to pay so much towards your property or something of that nature, the assessment, they were kind of high in my eye. So that's all. Is there anything else, dear, that, again, I did all the math, just letting you know that I'll go along with this. Oops, time's up. Thank you.
Patrick, do you want to answer some of those questions now, or do you want to continue? Explain, would you mind explaining the CPI?
So let's see, the maximum assessment is typically tied to, yes, a benchmark, and the benchmark that we've used is the San Francisco Bay Area CPI increase, and I believe that's April of every year. And so that has worked.
It's a consumer price index.
Consumer price increase, yes. And that's worked quite well for the other 6 assessment districts. The fact that there is no increase CPI to the maximum assessment after 30 years, because this was in the early 90s, we're basically not covering the costs to maintain these 2 districts, and it's operation and maintenance. And it's, you know, for the parks and open space, it's the Smith & Enright landscape contractor that's out there once a week. There's other costs such as just the electric meters that we use. And then for the benefit assessment, it's street maintenance, street signs, maintenance of the storm drain basins. There's 2 storm drain basins, one at each end of the California breeze. So what's in the staff report is how we broke out phasing this in over, was it 3 years and 4 years, depending on which assessment. And I did not calculate the increases, and this is based on basically input from our assessment engineer at Harrison Associates to basically get us to what the full assessment to cover our costs would be.
Does that make sense to you?
Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Really, it's funny how you can base it on San Francisco, because it's in a cost of living area. I don't know, the only reason I can make it possible is that I'm a veteran, and I work in the Social Security Administration, so I have some income coming in that offsets whatever you may do. But I find that probably most people that, I don't know, that have homes here, whether or not they can meet 27.5 or 22.4 of your assessment. But again, I would do whatever I can for the workers that on that part B or part, whatever part you want to call it, for the workers and for the city workers and so on.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak on this item?
Yeah, Henry Martinez, 112 10th Street. For years, I've been saying you're comparing oranges to apples. Oranges have a lot of juice. Apples have very little juice. Your oranges, San Francisco, their homes run about $1 million to $2 million a house. Here we're running about 6 or 8. And you're comparing a big city to our 10,000 people. You know, you guys got to stop looking at big cities start looking at cities comparable to our size. I don't know how Soledad's doing it, or Greenfield doing it, or King City. Salinas, you questionable because they're 10 times bigger than we are, or more than that. So, you know, you guys are comparing apples and oranges, and I want to say thank you for your service. And like I said, you're comparing a place that has millions of people compared to 10,000 people. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Henry Martinez Jr. We've had houses over there. We sold them. Thank God we did. We got out of that area. But one person out of that whole district came out to defend themselves, which is extremely low. Now I'm wondering how many other people are getting screwed just like he is. And without saying anything, you know, I didn't even know about that until I sat here, listened to this whole thing and looked it up. Like I said, some of them, you know, Gonzales is not a rich town whatsoever. Our home values went up from what was it, $250, $250,000 to like now almost 600, pushing 700. Now, when we built the new homes, you're looking about 7, 8 for those. And, you know, but what about the people that can't afford it? You know, for me, I got no problem paying for it. And I tell you guys, tax the shit out of me all the time. So, but not many people can. They should be more people from that district speaking up for this and defending themselves. So either you guys are not putting it out there and just cutting them from underneath and without them knowing.
Just for clarification, all of the homeowners in the California Breeze districts were notified by mail and sent a ballot. They all had notice of the fact that this election was taking place, and we got a pretty good response. We have 130 ballots here. So it wasn't as if anybody was trying to put something past anybody. They were all notified.
They should be being here speaking for themselves.
We can't tell people they have to come and speak, right? This is how they spoke. They cast their ballot.
So when do we get the results for that?
At the end of the
As
meeting,
soon as we close the public hearing and let somebody count those.
All right, I want to hear this.
anyone else wish to, okay?
Yeah, Roman Barba. I never paid attention to that side, but now that this is coming up, we do have some rental properties over there. I do have family members who live in California Breeze. So I'm just looking at it with what this guy said over here, that it's pretty high jump, right? So, but you look at it every year, our property taxes go up pretty high every year, right? So, and then the city all of a sudden starts adding, they want, okay, we got to maintain the parks, got to maintain the streets, and you got to maintain the sidewalks. I know the sidewalks over there are pretty bad. I know the sidewalks where the trees that got lifted. I wonder if the city's even going to fix that. If you're raising up the prices on these California Breeze area, you need to fix those sidewalks out there, because they've been out there like that for years. Even some of the streets where the trees are lifting them. So if you're going to raise it, I suggest you throw in that package, you start fixing the sidewalks in those streets. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you. I see that.
Mr. Mayor, council members, my name is Rick Clark from Harrison Associates. I just want to stand up and give you a little context on some of the items that have been brought up. The reason we use CPI from San Francisco Bay Area rather than somewhere else is that the only CPI indexes we have to use are either from San Francisco, Los Angeles, or San Diego. So we're using those, and we get this question a lot. I understand the concern of the residents that, that CPI may not apply to them, but as engineers, we don't really have much of an option to use anything other than that. So we get the closest one we can. And secondly, I also appreciate what Richard said about the fact that that's a 23% increase. That is high. But like Patrick said, that district was formed in the early 90s. There has been no increase in the dollar amount since that time. And without doing the math, I could pretty much guarantee you that if we had said, okay, let's apply 3% just as an average of the CPI each year to that assessment amount through the years, that we're talking 30+ years. You would probably not have to have this issue tonight. There would be plenty of money to pay for the streets to be properly maintained, for the sidewalks to be properly maintained, all of that. And that's the whole reason we're going through this process, is because that district simply doesn't have the funds to create or to maintain the district properly and to make the necessary repairs. So that's the reason we're going through this process tonight. Hope that puts a little bit more context on what we were talking about. Thank you.
Thank you. And
If
I
I
know,
could-
I
can
know
I-
for a fact that Canyon Creek has had this increase on an annual basis. And we have plenty of money in that district to take care of their needs, parks, lights, et cetera. And the problem with California Breeze is that it's been 30 years and we've never had any increases. And right now, we're taking general fund money to pay for maintaining the park and the streets over there. And we can't continue to do that and take money from basically the rest of the residents to take care of one area of town. It has to be, it's your area, it needs to be maintained by that particular district. That's the way it's been set up, and that's the way we have to try to balance things so that we're not robbing from Peter to pay Paul.
That is
Oh,
correct.
Yes, Carmen,
If I
go
could
ahead.
just add, yes, we embarked on this process because we heard loud and clear from folks from that area that there was maintenance issues. And so I can let you know that as of June 30th of this year, Parks and Open Space District in California Breeze is actually under or in the red, $252,000 taken from the general fund to cover those needs. And so this is an attempt to bring things to current a little bit. It isn't going to cover everything, but we desperately need that funding to maintain Meyer Park and its surrounding areas. So and then just to add, folks in the community in that neighborhood were notified multiple times and received at least 2 reminders to send in their notice. Therefore, I think 100+ is a pretty good turnout. So we'll see what where they stand. But I wanted to be very clear that it's impacting our general fund greatly, and we need to really consider what we're doing out there and how we maintain safety and reduce issues out there, but also not continue to just dive deeper into the red in that subdivision. So that's all I
Thank you.
have.
Anyone else in the public wishing to speak on this before I close the public comment period? No, you get one. You get one. Sorry, you get one. I apologize.
We just want to ask and make sure that we don't have anybody in the audience with a ballot that they haven't submitted at this time.
Is there anyone in the audience that has a ballot that hasn't been submitted? And if so, this is your opportunity to do that. Okay, no. All right, then I'll go ahead and ask Stella if we have any comments via Zoom.
No comments via Zoom.
Okay, any comments via email?
No comments via email.
So folks did have an opportunity, both email, Zoom, and publicly to make comments on this particular subject. All right, so I'll go ahead and close the public meeting. We'll bring it back for council action or discussion. Any further council discussion or questions for staff? Okay. No? Okay. Then I'll entertain a motion to,
No, so at this point, what we want to do is to close this particular matter. And we'll reopen it once the ballots have been cast, and then we're gonna hand over these ballots, which are still sealed, to Rick and the chief, and they're gonna count and they'll come back with the count, and when they come back, then we can take the item back up.
and so in the meantime, can we move on with the agenda? Okay, so chief and what you said, who else was, okay,
Our consulting engineer from Harris.
okay. So if you guys, I think there's tables and chairs out there, you can count it.
You can send Scott back in too.
Oh, and we sent, and Jason, would you please send Scott back in? At this point, he might be. Yes, then we're going back to consent. Thank you, Lorraine.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All righty, since we got the full council back, we can move on with the consent agenda. So if you've all had an opportunity to review the consent items, I'll entertain either a discussion, pulling an item, whatever is your choice. So at this point, is there any questions, concerns, items that need to be pulled? Say so, or forever keep your peace.
Just a real quick question.
Quick question here.
With regards to the department activity reports, these were all through the end of June. Does not include any information for anything that occurred in the month of July. Is that correct?
That is correct. We usually do the activity report for the previous month, which does make it a little bit complicated to remember what was that previous month and what's, but anything that happened in July will be reported in the next meeting. As well as, I just want to share that we also plan to give an update on 4th of July activities and outcomes at that next meeting as well.
Thank you, Carmen.
Thank you. All right. Any further questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and I have a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, moving past to item 19. 19. Oh, one of my favorites.
Yeah.
The Community Center Complex Project Progress Report and Task Order number 2 with Harris and Associates Staff Report. Mr. Dobbins?
Mayor Rios, council members, just a quick progress report. Construction of phase 1 of the community center, and yes, staff is seeking council approval of task order number 2 with Harrison Associates for their construction management services. As mentioned in the staff report, after working through the various and detailed prior to construction conditions required under the city's loan from the United States Department of Agriculture, staff issued the notice to proceed with construction to Auto Construction effective Monday, June 10th. That notice to proceed was for the construction of phase 1, which is the library, the teen center, and a lot of site work. It basically does not include the community center building, which would require another $10 million in funding. So that authorization was a not to exceed amount of $18,718,392 to be exact. And I want to turn this over to a little bit of the presentation to Luis Flores. He's our construction manager with Harrison Associates. He's going to step through the contractor's activities over the last 6 weeks.
Good evening, Mayor Rios and City Council. My name is Luis Flores, and I'm the construction manager on the Gonzalez Community Center Complex. So I've been working closely since November of last year with Patrick and Carmen, Mike Howard, and other city staff through the design development phase of the project, into construction documents, and now officially into construction. So as Patrick mentioned, the city issued Auto Construction their notice to proceed on June 6th, following permit issuance by Four Leaf, who's the third-party building code review firm. And so effectively after the notice to proceed was issued, the contractor mobilized to the site, moved job site trailer, and began with the demolition phase of the project. So the demolition phase included tearing the existing asphalt parking lot, the existing, or what used to be Gavilan Court, existing sidewalks, existing lighting, underground utilities consisting of sewer, gas, water. Over the last 6 weeks, they've moved on into grading. So the picture that you see up on the board, you can see that they've already cleared and grubbed the site and began prep of what is going to be the pad for Building A. That's what you see on the where the construction tractors are parked closer to 5th Street. So they're currently working on finalizing the subgrade for Building Pad A. And then they're also working on underground utilities, specifically the sewer. So some of you may have noticed there's been construction activity on 5th Street. So contractor was working closely with the city to get their encroachment permits for the required work that needs to be done on the street. As of last week, they've completed the installation of the manhole for the sanitary sewer system on 5th Street. So that's been reopened again. And so the rest of the sanitary sewer work is happening now inside the site. A couple other project highlights to bring to your attention. PG&E was engaged early on in the process back in March of this year, And so design is officially underway, and we're expected to get design completed for the electrical system on this project by the end of or mid-August, so prior to the end of next month, so about a month from now. Yeah, I mean, the partnership that we developed with the city, with the contractor, with Auto Construction, WRNS, the designer, we have a great working relationship. I'm out there daily. I met you out there, Mayor Rios, a couple weeks back. So I provide on-site construction management every day. We're there starting at 7 a.m. All the way till 4 or 5 p.m. depending on what we have going on any given day. In addition to my day-to-day construction related activities, I'm also working with the city on project management activities. So specifically managing the different grants, grant tracking, providing the progress reports, working closely with Mike Howard to make sure that our budget is, that we're staying within our budget on a month-to-month, providing the appropriate reports to the CNRA, the USDA, all the different various funding sources on the project, making sure that the project is progressing, managing any hurdles that come up, and making sure that it's going to be a product that you're all happy with at the end of the day. That's all I have.
Thanks, Luis. So I just want to build on that to say, according to the current schedule, substantial completion of phase 1 is expected by the end of October 2025, with final completion planned for December 15th, 2025. Fingers crossed. A lot of ducks to get right, including the PG&E service and long time procurement on a number of items, including the electrical switchgear. So now I'm just going to jump to the action item, which is approval of task order 2 for Harrison Associates for their construction management services. So Harrison Associates Master Service Agreement and task order 1 was approved at the September 18th, 2023 council meeting. Their services for last fiscal year were approved in the amount of $452,876. Harris's projected fee for this fiscal year is $639,586. However, there's significant unexpended funds from task order 1 that will roll over to this current fiscal year. Therefore, the task order in front of you for approval is estimated to be $517,633. That's they're providing their services at an hourly not to exceed. They're overseeing several different subconsultants. And with that, and I do want to say, and echoing what Luis said, Auto Construction, McGuire Hester, who's the horizontal contractor doing the dirt work, the undergrounding work, are doing a terrific job. We were delayed about a month getting our notice to proceed because of having to clear a number of conditions with USDA, but Auto Construction's committed to meeting our original deadline of get this done by December of 2025. So in conclusion, staff recommends that the council authorize contract task order number 2 with Harrison Associates for their services during this fiscal year in the amount of $570,633. That concludes my presentation, and I and Luis are ready for any questions.
I just have one, and it's more related to when school starts. As we all know, Fifth Street is a tough street, and the guys have been great out there, I have to tell you, with their little signs to stop and all that kind of stuff. I know that we are continuing with the work, we're gonna do it and everything. That's one of my concerns is school starts, I believe, mid-August or early August.
Yes,
August
August 8th.
Yeah.
Yes.
So do we have a plan in place for that situation once the kids go back to school?
Well, the contractor and construction manager are very aware of the school schedule that was shared with them. So they're aware of the first day of school when it gets really busy. And they're aware that it's, this includes traffic that's going to hold them up from getting access to the site.
Exactly.
So, this is something that's discussed in our weekly meetings. I know it says in the staff report how we meet weekly, and they provide a 3-week look ahead schedule. Luis, I don't know if there's anything else to add as far as will we be out of Fifth Street in that time? You gotta speak from use the microphone.
And I know it's in the staff report, but sometimes it's good for everybody to hear it. You know, that's sort of the way I look at it.
Yeah, so as Patrick mentioned, so any work that we got going on in the street, specifically, it's gonna be underground utilities, right? And so in anticipation of any underground utility work, we'll provide a plan well in advance for the city's review to make sure that we're meeting the proper, we have a safety plan, right, for pedestrians, for traffic, to make sure that everybody's commuting between Fifth Street in a safe manner. Right now, we're prioritizing getting all of the underground work done on the front end because we know that the school is starting in August, so that we're out of the street. And then once school starts, right, we're going to be obviously working. Yeah, no, we're working in the site, but also if there is any additional work out in the street, which we still have water tie-ins and eventually the electrical service. The electrical service isn't anticipated until at least October of next year. And so we will be providing enough notice and making sure that the safety plan, the traffic control plan that we have in place is something that is acceptable to the city and to the community. Again, to make sure that traffic in that area and pedestrian safety is at the top priority.
Thank you.
I just want to note too, that we are considering moving the crosswalk to the corner instead of right smack in the middle. So that's being explored as a additional possibility as well.
The corner of what?
Rincon.
Rincon.
Rincon, okay. Liz, you had another question?
Yeah, my concerns were similar to Lorraine's and Carmen. I had already shared with her. First, I want to commend the crew out there when they have to reroute us kind of in a snake style. They've done a very good job and they keep the traffic flowing. So kudos to all of them. My concern that I brought to Carmen was, will there be a temporary rerouting of foot traffic? And I suggested that at the corner of Rincon and Fifth, that they could cross there rather than going to the middle of the construction site. I just want the foot traffic to kind of be rerouted around any potential issues that could come up, knowing also that that driveway next to the construction site needs to be used for the Head Start students as well. And I have one quick question. Is there going to be a sound wall put up between the site and the residential area?
There'll be a 6-foot timber fence.
Temporary?
Not a sound wall.
Like a chain link fence?
No, wood. There'll be a 6-foot wood fence.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Any other questions from council? Okay, then I'll go ahead and open up for public comment. Anyone wishing to comment on this item may do so at this time. Mr. Martinez.
Henry Jr. All right, the last time we had a project like this was Alta Street, big. You guys diverted the traffic elsewhere, and lo and behold, Belden Street got destroyed. Our streets are not graded for heavy equipment like that coming in and out all the time. And if you look at Fifth Street as it is now, it's a mess, especially in front of this construction zone. So I want to know who's going to foot the bill for Fifth Street. Because you guys didn't foot the bill for Belden Street when it got destroyed, and it's still a mess now. Even parts of Belden Street it's straight to the dirt. Fifth Street is cracked beyond belief, and as soon as it rains or gets any kind of water on that thing, you're going to be having massive potholes. So I hope, this construction site doesn't, mess up the road worse than what it is. Because it's a mess right now. You try to drive over there, it's cracked, it's everything. You got metal plates, you're rattling cars to pieces. So, that needs to be thought about as soon as that's finished, so we don't leave Fifth Street all messed up with a brand new, center.
Thank you. Anyone else? No? What?
Again, my name is Richard Dansby. The only thing I thought of was that to make the kids at school aware, that's about it. Have them to move with purpose, but to look and listen and to look for the guys in the vested suits and so forth.
Thank you. One more? Okay, Roman.
Yeah, I ride my bike on Fifth Street a lot and, Fifth Street's already a mess already. There's chunks of the road missing. I mean, there's big old potholes on Fifth Street now. So I noticed when they're tearing up the road in that area, I just wondered if, are they gonna repave that one section there or they're just gonna patch it up where they dug? I just wondered if they're just gonna patch it up because it's a mess all in that area. There's actually chunks of the road if you go, that need to get filled in now. So, on Fifth Street. I believe that's probably because of the Semites going through there. 'Cause I think Fifth Street wasn't made to have Semites go through Fifth Street. So, and it's, I mean, there's chunks, I mean, big chunks missing. The one thing I was thinking, if you're gonna deter, you could deter going down Rincon, so the kids go down to the cars going through the high school, through the back Rincon Road in that area. And if they're going to Fairview, go down the other side of Rincon and to the Gloria and to Fairview, detour those cars going that way. You know, so I would say one sign would have to say high school that way with an arrow. And if you want to go to the Gloria and Fairview, go this way, all right? So it's kind of be a mess, but one thing I would suggest is that if the Semites are going down that road, it's gonna be even more mess. Because you know they are. And to tell you the truth, the other day I was on my bike, there was a semi going down Fifth Street, and guess where it went? It turned left at the stoplight, went in front of Fairview, went all the way toward the Gloria, went around to the swimming pool's at, to Fairview, and I'm following it on my bike, so I can see where it went. So it went all the way down First Street, made a left on Front Street, went over the railroad tracks to the businesses out there. That's all, that's the way it went. So, and I actually got it on my phone, if you want to see it. I took a picture of it. So that's telling me, and also too, the police department got to be aware of this because riding my bike, I also see police cars going by the semis, Second Street, semi going down my street, and there's a police car going right by it. You know, I'm sure, I wonder if the police officers are even pulling them over, giving them tickets. I don't think so. That's because they keep doing it over and over and over. So I think you need to stop, the police department start giving these semis tickets, because what it does, it's like a trickle down effect. Once you start getting tickets, whole thing, remember the loud music in my neighborhood? They started giving out the tickets, and guess what? There's no loud music anymore. So the police department starts doing that, giving them tickets. It trickles down to all the other guys, and everybody starts getting the point. Thanks.
All right. Anyone else? Then I will go ahead and ask Estelle, do we have anybody via Zoom?
No comments via Zoom.
Thank you. Mary, any comments via email?
No comments via email.
Okay, then I'll go ahead and close the public comment period now and bring it back for council discussion or action. Any other questions for staff? But I thought we were also supposed to approve the funding for Harrison Associates.
Correct. Council approved task order number 2 under
Yeah.
Harris's master service agreement.
Yeah. Mr. Mayor, motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, I have a first and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. I forgot to ask a quick question. I don't believe the community center has any plan to repave the front of that street, just redoing the
We do have a plan to reconstruct Fifth Street along the project frontage.
Okay, thank you.
That includes a MST bus stop, as a matter of fact. So yes.
Are we back? We're good?
Mr. Mayor and Council, I just want to report out that we will not be needing to consider the resolutions 2024 40 and 41. We don't have a final count yet, but it looks like it has overwhelmingly been rejected, the assessment increase. So we'll still be doing the regular California Breeze assessments that are on the agenda later on in the packet, but with respect to this one, we'll get the final tally, but I just wanted to take the suspense out of it that the assessment has been overwhelmingly rejected. I think we had 5 yes votes that were counted, and the rest of them were all no. So the time was out there was maybe like 20 envelopes still open up, so.
Okay, moving on to item number 20, public hearing to consider approval of resolution number 2024-42, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Gonzales approving and accepting Gonzales Police Department's AB 481 fiscal year 2023-2024 annual military equipment report pursuant to Government Code Section 7071D and receiving City of Gonzales ordinance number 2022-13, approving Gonzales, oh, excuse me, 131, approving Gonzales Police Department Policy Manual, Policy 709, excuse me, military equipment, staff report.
Mr. Mayor and Council, you're gonna have to forgive me for the length of this presentation, but this is very process heavy, so I'll get to it as quickly as I can, but there's a lot of material to cover. Pursuant to legislation that was passed in 2022, every city in the state has to adopt an ordinance approving military equipment use policies regarding the possession and use of military equipment by its police department. In Gonzales ordinance number 2022-131 was approved. The title of it, approving the Gonzales Police Department Policy Manual, Policy 709, military equipment, was approved by the City Council in June of 2022. Thereafter, the law requires that the City Council review the ordinance and the policy at least annually and vote on whether to renew the ordinance at a regular meeting. The ordinance approving Policy 709 received its first annual review and was approved for renewal by the City Council in 2023, June, basically. So we've been keeping up with the schedule pretty accurately. In October of 2023, the City Council approved the purchase of an unmanned aerial system, a drone, by Ordinance 2023-141. Time of the action, the purchase and use of the drone was considered to be within the scope and in compliance with Policy 709. The annual review of Ordinance 2022-131 and Policy 709 is scheduled for review by the City Council this evening. In order to assist the council's review, the law requires the police department to submit an annual military equipment report for each type of military equipment approved. The annual report is meant to provide yearly information about each type of military equipment that was approved by the council. Within 30 days of submitting the report, the law enforcement agency is required to hold at least one publicized meeting at which the general public may discuss and ask questions regarding military equipment. The annual military report was provided to the City Council by the Police Department at the City Council meeting of June 3rd, 2024. And in compliance with the law, the Police Department thereafter placed the military report on the city's website on June 7th, 2024. It's also publicized as part of this agenda and so forth that we would be having what's known as a community meeting, basically a public hearing on the annual report at this evening's meeting. So that's going to happen first. So we'll open up the community meeting, let anybody that wants to comment on the annual report comment. And then thereafter, at the closure of that meeting, the council will then consider whether or not it wants to renew the ordinance that we have in place that approves Policy 709. So the police department's annual report is in your packet. As I said, it's been on the city's website now for in excess of 45 days. The equipment possessed by the police department now is 9 semi-automatic rifles and ammunition, 9 less lethal projectile launchers, and the drone. There's no intent to acquire additional military equipment in the coming year. So again, just to repeat, in terms of process, the council should hold the community meeting on the annual report, close the hearing, and then consider renewal of its ordinance and military equipment policy. With the exception of the drone, whose use was thoroughly vetted by Ordinance 2023-141, when it was purchased on October of 2023, there have been no changes to the types or use of military equipment held by the police department. As such, the findings that were made when the ordinance and the policy were originally adopted in 2022 should stand. So staff is recommending that the council adopt the resolution, which will approve and accept the police department's annual military equipment report and renew ordinance 2022-131.
All right, we'll go ahead and open this up to the general public. This is your opportunity to comment on this item on the agenda. The public hearing is now opened.
Was this meeting supposed to be set up or it already happened?
So this is happening right now.
Happening right now.
Oh, okay, this is for this right now, okay.
Yes.
All right, you all know me on that drone. And specifically, your officers clearly point that out to me that I was against that drone. So the intentions of the use was to be used for the 4th of July, which happened that didn't go up at all because the officer who was in charge of manning that drone was not manning it at all, period. So we had a $10,000 plus drone sitting at the police station, not being used at all. Because I had that officer for over an hour plus sitting in front of my house. So to me, that's a waste of money. And the chance to actually use it was not used at all. Because we've only had 3 citations in Gonzales and only 8 calls for illegal fireworks. That's not enough to purchase such military equipment. And you're asking me how I got this? The police logs just came out and it clearly shows the number of calls that came in for it. So yeah, no military equipment. There's no need for it. And why do we need, what, 9 AR-15s for a small town? God knows why. Who we shooting? Nobody.
Answer to your question, the Martinez family shooting at us, unarmed people. I am a child of the 70s. Peace, love, not war. Make love. I wear a tie-dye shirt. I was here preaching to the choir again. We cannot trust the police department the use of military equipment. In the reign of Maria Orozco as mayor, your officer shot the AR what? AR-15 in the middle of the street over at 9th Street and Center, disregarding the children playing on their bicycles across the street in the corner. I get to the scene, kids are busy playing. Your officer standing in the middle of the street going, ta, 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 ta. Wonderful sound, never heard it before. And he was shooting it while kids were across the street. I told you a number of times, we cannot trust the sergeant, the captain, the corporal, or the chief. I told you that the drone was going to be misused. Yes, the drone was up, but it was down at my house. While you guys, your officers were there at my house, the whole city lit up. Where was the drone operator? Attacking me. Instead of flying around, attacking me, flying around, capturing everybody that was popping fireworks that day when they were at my house, they could have caught everybody around my neighborhood, everybody across the other side of the freeway. He could have been flying the drone, capturing these people popping the fireworks when they found out that every single person, including the drone operator, which was attacking me, was at my house. And you still want to trust these officers? When you change leadership, police officers, and give me decent, honest police officers, I will stop questioning the use of these military equipment. You know, why do we buy the thing? So it can be parked and I get attacked? That's what you want military equipment for? He was not catching people because he was busy at my house. Your drone operator. which I told you we cannot trust the cops. And I told you that for years, and I kept on telling you guys for years. Right now, I was told all over Gonzales, F the cops, from people who've seen this video. If you guys don't change the attitude of the police,
Thank
people
you,
are gonna
Mr.
get cited.
Martinez. Anyone else? Okay. Mr. Barba, yes.
It's me, I got my hat on.
That's why I saw, that's why I recognized you.
That's why I wear, I know you.
Thank you, I
see that.
appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm totally against, that policy here because, military equipment in Gonzales, we really don't need it. I mean, we were rated the safest city, right? We even got an award for it, right? No crime. And I know when we went and bought the drone, I was totally against it. So I wondered, last year, how many tickets we got for 4th of July, right? How many the police department gave out last year? And how many did the drone get this year? Was it 4, 3? I think without having that drone, I think the police department got more tickets driving the streets than they did using the drone. So I would say maybe the drone maybe got 2 this year. And I would say, what'd you get last year? Maybe 9, 12 last year tickets. So I think the drone was a waste of money. And the other thing is that Gonzales is a safe city. We don't need military equipment here. Right? We're not New York, we're not Boston, where they have these mass killings and stuff like that. That's when you need military equipment. But to have it here in Gonzales, really, that's kind of sad that we have to bring military equipment in here. And to buy a drone just for 4th of July, how much does that cost? $20,000 for something like that? It's a waste of money. Just blew it out the window. Thanks. That's all I got to say.
Thank you. Anyone else? Not seeing anyone rush to the podium, then I'll go ahead and ask Stella, do we have any comments via Zoom?
No comments via Zoom.
Thank you. Mary, any comments via email?
No comments via email.
Okay, then I'll go ahead and close the public comment period and bring it back for council discussion and action. Any further discussion from council?
No.
No? All right, then I'll entertain a motion for approval of the item or not.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve resolution number 2024-42 as presented.
Do I have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All righty, moving on. The public hearing, consider approval of resolution number 2024-43. A resolution of the city council of the city of Gonzales confirming diagrams and assessments and levying annual assessments pursuant to the Benefit Assessment Act of 1982 for fiscal year 2024-2025 California Breeze Benefit Assessment District, numbers 1, 2, and 3, and resolution.
I can spare you the need to read these long titles for all of these. We don't need to read all of them into the record. We can just identify the fact that we're going to take action on the specific things when we get to them. So we have items, I think, 21 through 24. And they are all going to be covered by a single staff report that I'm just about to give, so.
Can Mr. Funk stay until we're ready?
It covers all.
Don't forget.
Everybody's, I think.
We have numerous conflicts. We have to switch people out, so. But everybody can stay at least for purposes of hearing the staff.
Yep.
Sounds good. Thank you, Michael.
So this is the annual assessment process that we go through every year by law. Cities required to schedule hearings, to set assessments, to pay for the costs and expenses of operating, maintaining, and servicing the public improvements that are located in the districts that have been formed in the city. If you know, some of these districts are, California Breeze is a good record, 30 years old. The city's designated engineer of work, Harrison Associates, prepared the engineers reports And the preliminary report was prepared and accepted by you at the meeting that we had on June 30th, 2024. Public notice for the hearings about the public for all of the assessment districts, as well as the actual amounts that are going to be assessed, and published on July 10th of 2024. The attached resolutions, if approved, will provide final approval of the engineer's report for each district, authorize the levy and collection of the noted assessments, in order the maintenance, operating, and service of the improvements that are identified in these. Consideration and action on the 8th resolution should only be taken after the public hearing for a group of districts. So we've always done in the past is to just, when we have both the benefit and the parks for each of the identified assessment districts, we've just gone ahead and taken them at the same time. Once the resolutions have been approved, the staff will forward the assessment information to the assessor's office. That has to be done by no later than August 1st. Harris is recommending that the city adjust the maximum assessments. That's the highest assessment that could be levied in any given year during the life of the district for the Canyon Creek, the Cipriani, and Industrial Park districts by the CPI for the previous year. That CPI this year was 3.767. The California Breeze Benefit Assessment and Park districts do not have a provision that allows a CPI adjustment, as we discussed earlier. There is no change in the proposed fiscal year 2024-2025 annual assessments from last year for the California Breeze, Canyon Creek, Cipriani Estates, and Gonzales Industrial districts. So the proposed assessments will all be the same as they were last year. And that's because there has been a determination that, with the exception of the California Breeze assessment districts, the assessments that are being collected in the other districts are adequate to address both the relevant labor and material costs. So staff recommends that the council adopt each of the resolutions confirming district diagrams and the assessments and levying said assessments. As I indicated before we came to this item, there was some thought that we were going to be taking action on the proposed increase to the California Breeze sections. That's not going to happen now. We can go and adopt and consider adoption of the ones that are before you in this particular item. So.
I have one quick question. I've always been asked to step off regarding the Cipriani Estates, and I'm curious why that is. I own no property in Cipriani Estates. Yes, I do have a home on Freedom Way that's within 300 feet of that assessment district.
That's why.
Step off. So it works both ways. Some folks think that the assessment districts actually loan or lend value to the property, increased sales value to the property, because people say, well, they're going to be maintained by the assessment districts. Other people said that you would vote no, because you just don't want to have to pay the assessments on property that you own. That's close. So when you own property that's close to the assessment district, it's affected the same.
Okay, thank you very much. I just want clarification on that issue.
You bet.
Thank you.
So we have, if I could suggest that we do the industrial one first, that's the only one that doesn't have any conflict at all.
Correct.
So we could go ahead and open the public hearing on the,
Industrial Assessment District.
47 and 48.
So that's resolutions number 2024-47 and 2024-48, one being for the Industrial Park Benefit Assessment District, the other for the Industrial Park Maintenance Assessment. Yeah. They have different titles.
That's number 23.
That's number 24, Mike?
23.
23.
Number 23. So it's resolutions. We're opening the public hearing on both of these resolutions, which are for the assessments in the industrial district.
So public comment period is now open for that discussion on the assessment district for the industrial park. Anyone wishing to speak on this item may do so at this time. Seeing kind of a clear room and no one really rushing the podium. I'll go ahead and ask for any comments via Zoom, Estella.
No comments via Zoom.
Thank you. Mary, any comments via email?
No comments via email.
Okay, bringing it back to council. Any further discussion? If not, I'll entertain a motion for approval or disapproval, whatever you're.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I'll note the closing of the public hearing and motion to adopt resolution number 2024-47 and resolution 2024-48.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right.
So let's take the next one. We'll just take the rest of them in order now. So the next one would be the
California.
resolutions under 21, which is California Breeze.
Okay, sorry, Mr. Funk. I'll be joining you out there in a bit.
That is resolution 2024-43, which is for the California Breeze Benefit Assessment Districts number 1, 2, and 3, and resolution number 2024-44, which is for the California Breeze Landscaping, Parks and Open Space Maintenance Assessment District.
Okay, I'll go ahead and open the public comment period at this time for anyone wishing to comment on this item on the agenda. Seeing that, again, no one rushing the podium, we'll go ahead and ask for anyone via Zoom.
No comments via Zoom.
Mary, any comments via email?
No comments via email.
Then I'll go ahead and close the public comment period and bring it back to council for action or discussion.
I have a question.
Okay, questions are
I
good too.
just need to understand this. So now, because the other one did not pass, and now we're doing this one, does that mean that California Breeze will not have access to improvements on their parks and all of that? That's what I need to understand, because
My understanding is that we're going to have to go back and take a look at what the budget is and what can be done within the budget that we are collecting for California Breeze, because the city cannot continue to subsidize the California Breeze Assessment District. So, so we'll be looking at what's the biggest bang we can get for the buck, so we collect this assessment.
Okay.
Production of service, relation services.
Yeah, my question was gonna be very similar, since the other one didn't come to fruition. Where do they stand now? Is there a starting block at least? So that everything is kind of equal for all districts?
No, so what's happening is that California Breeze has been maxed out now for, I don't know how many years, but it's been.
Over 30 years.
Yeah. But, and so, because they don't have they don't have
CPA.
right? So, so they're just gonna continue. We're only gonna be able to raise that maximum amount until there is some change in the process, or until we find some other means to finance it. But there is no other, I mean, there's been suggestions of grants and things like that. They won't work in the long term. So, what's going to happen is that we're going to just continue to collect this same amount every year. And we're gonna just have to figure out what we can do with that limited pool of funds. So unlike the other districts where we've been able to keep up with by adjusting the CPI and so forth, we're not gonna be able to do that.
So then the complaints continue.
The complaints
And
will
that's,
continue.
you know, that's really the bottom line, is they don't understand that we can't do it unless we get more money.
We'll actually have less money than we have had in the past, because there's been a decision that with the current financial state of the city, we can't continue to subsidize the California Breeze districts, right?
Well, especially with the amount that Carmen says we've had to take out of general fund, which is over $1 billion.
So.
Right, and maybe, I mean, I don't know.
So we'll have a discussion. I would imagine that we may even have to have a meeting with the folks who live out there and explain what's going on and why they're not seeing the types of improvements that they would like to see, but they're gonna be a limited pool of funds.
If I,
Carmen has something.
Go ahead, Carmen.
yeah, I just want to add just a little bit to Mike's comments. So yes, obviously that is correct. We'll continue to be lower and maintenance will continue to be harder to do there. I do want to state, you know, we get asked about grants. I have been looking at that opportunity. I have been told by USDA and others that median income level around there is too high. It does not qualify for certain grants. So it's, you know, something to note. But I also want to make sure that I give a shout out to Public Works and the school district. Not too long ago, gosh, I don't know, Patrick, was it last week? We were able to borrow one of the equipment that was out there working on the resurfacing of the high school stadium. And we were our Public Works took it upon themselves to be able to use that piece of machinery and do some work on the field. So, you know, that is an opportunity that just came about, and Public Works staff use their leadership to make that happen. But those are opportunities that are going to be rare and seldom, and we will have to maintain, just what we need to maintain in that park. So it's important for people to understand that, yeah, given the budget situation and the fact that we're in the red in that park, we won't be able to continue doing a lot more.
Thank you.
Yeah, my answer to someone who asked me about the assessments, and I was kind of jokingly, but then I thought about it. Well, I says, well, there's not enough money. There's not enough money. We're just gonna put little yellow tape around the park and say out of order. But, of course I was joking, but,
No, maybe
you
not.
know, there's some things that we're just not gonna be able to upgrade or just do the bare minimum. And I think that's, yeah.
All right, so I'll entertain the motion either for approval or disapproval.
And then what was the number?
Approve. That's number 22.
2024-45
45.
and 46.
43 and 44.
Oh, this is
Oh, we're up
California.
still at 21.
Oh, geez. 43 and 44?
Correct.
Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion, a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
So the next grouping is for Canyon Creek, and there we have a two-fold. We have two folks with, conflicts, and that would be.
Yeah,
Councilmember
that's
Wood.
us. Bye.
All right.
Bye-bye.
So we can't have a tie here.
it's
No. Good budget.
So now we want to, open the public hearing for, resolution number 2024-45, which is for the Canyon Creek Benefit Assessment Districts number 1, 2, and 3. And resolution number 24-46, which is for the Canyon Creek Parks and Open Space Maintenance Assessment Districts number 1, 2, and 3.
Okay, moving forward, I'll open the public meeting for anyone wishing to discuss this item. But there's no one in the room, I'll go ahead and move directly to anyone via Zoom. Estella? Oh, she stepped out of the room? Okay, then I'll ask Mary. Mary, anyone via email?
No comments via email.
Sorry. We're almost done, Mary.
No comments via Zoom.
Thank you. All right, bringing it back to council. I'll entertain a motion either for or against.
All right, Mr. Mayor, with the closing of the public hearing, we'll make the motion to adopt resolution number 2024-45 and resolution number 2024-46.
Second.
All righty. Motion and second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I'll go bring them in. Wow.
Ciao.
There you go. Says the return.
So this is for the last group of assessments that we have, and it's resolution, 224, I'm sorry, 2024, not 2024. right. 2024-49 and 2024-50. Those are for respectively the Cipriani Estates Benefit Assessment District and Cipriani Estates Parks and Open Space Maintenance Assessment.
Thank you, Michael. And with that, we'll open the public hearing. See no one in the lobby. Stella, do we have any on Zoom?
No comments via Zoom.
Thank you. Mary, any comments via
No
email?
comments via email.
Thank you. With that, we'll close the public hearing. Bring it back to the council for action.
I move we approve resolution number 2024-49 and 2024-50.
Second.
First and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone against or opposed? Motion passes.
Jason? was there a finished count that you guys have? Just the raw yeses and nos?
I don't know about the number of those.
Opinion.
Moving right along.
So just before we move forward, I'll just indicate for the record that, there's still tallying going on and so forth, but, it was clear, like one of those, when they predict the election, like 15 minutes after the, yeah, the poll has been closed, but, notwithstanding that, so there's no need for us to return to item 18, take any action and reopen the hearing or anything. We probably will have the formal announcement of what the results of that election were at the next meeting, but it was clear that it was overwhelmingly projected.
All right, thank you.
I mean, would it, just out of curiosity, maybe staff could comment on it. Of that money that we spent, is it streets? Is it sidewalks? Is it lighting? Is it the majority, the park, the daily maintenance or weekly maintenance of the park? Is that where the majority of the funds are going, Mr. Dobbins?
The majority
Oh.
money
Go ahead.
is for the landscape maintenance efforts of the parks and open spaces.
So.
Maybe, Mr. Mayor, we can discuss that at the next meeting when we do bring the item back. That way it's a,
I just wanted to get an idea where we're at, why we're at that $250,000 in overtures.
Sure.
Out of the general fund. I mean, hopefully I was hoping there was an easy fix, but obviously not. We are at. Business from city council, correct? City council boards and community reports. I'm the first one up, League of California Cities, Monterey Bay. I have nothing to report. Next, I believe, is AMBAG.
AMBAG was dark in July, so we are good.
We have nothing to report. Next is
MST.
Monterey Salinas Transit.
Hydrogen upgrades and microgrid design. The MST board directed staff to amend the approved 2025 capital improvement program to include hydrogen upgrades and microgrid design project in the amount of $2,810,220 and authorized our director with a contract with Kimberly Horn and Associates for hydrogen upgrades. That's an area that we've all been kind of talking about for a while. It's one that I'm really in favor of, because they keep talking about electric buses that are coming down the pike. And I'm not sure how that's all gonna pan out in the future, but we're gonna wait and see. South County Circulator bus stops, they will begin construction. I think I was told, and Patrick, you may know better, August, they're gonna start. And hopefully complete those MST circulators by December, is what they're telling us.
So I emailed Vince Dang of MST this morning and, yes, the contract's with Don Chapin and Company.
Right.
And there'll be a pre-construction meeting next week and I've asked to be included in that invite.
Perfect.
I don't know, the rest of the details on the schedule. It would seem reasonable to me that, yes, they would start in August.
And I made sure to reiterate, but I know that Patrick, you've been doing this as well, to the point that we have our community center being built. So there's construction going on so that they need to be aware of that. So, and they said you have been telling them that, so that's good. We continue with the SURF project, which is obviously a huge $94 million project, which seems to increase all the time. Started out at 88 million, now it's at 92 million. So we'll see how that one goes. The other one that is something that we've been kind of talking about is the Narcan. They adopted a policy for distribution. Managers and supervisors are the ones that have access to the Narcan. One of my issues was, I said, well, why isn't there a Narcan on every bus? It's a liability issue and they're concerned. Yeah. And I felt like telling them, call Jason, because yeah, because the bottom line is they're concerned that if someone administers it improperly and something happens to someone on the bus, then they're liable. So this is an issue that they're really concerned about. So consequently, they will not be putting Narcan on the buses, which I kind of,
Aren't they covered by this Narcan?
well, yeah, and we have, you know, our, we have, why can't I think of the word now? Someone who's in charge of, well, human resources. She's our director of human resources. She's been doing a lot of investigating on this. I have pushed back a little bit, so I have already kind of talked to Carl about it a little bit because I do think it's really important. I think we have plenty of people who have been doing it. I mean, we have been educated quite a bit. It's in the schools. I don't know why it wouldn't be put on the buses. So there is a little pushback, at least on my end. I did ask again. So that's an area that we're discussing at this point. Ridership has been consistently going up, which is really good. And one of the things I did want to bring up is there were some York students from York School who did a report on MST youth and college ridership. It's a really great report. I asked them to send it to me so that you could all see it because it's pretty interesting to see, you know, who's riding the bus, when, and going to what schools and that sort of thing. So we will be dark in August, so I will not have a report for MST in the August meeting. Thank you. That's my report.
And thank you regarding MST and the SURF project. By the way, that was brought up at the last TAMC meeting, which I would have reported on the first meeting, but I'll go ahead and just comment on it. It was brought on, it was in a consent item and it was pulled for the public, and we must have spent about an hour.
Yeah.
And we actually ended up taking a roll call. So we had Marina, which surprised me, and Carmel voting to discontinue the SURF project, but the rest of the board voted yes, continue with the SURF project. And the concern is that when they do the SURF project, they're going to remove some rail, and they're concerned that that's going to increase the cost eventually to build that rail line. Well, my father's passed away 33 years ago, and even then, that line was not being used. And when I asked my father, "Hey, Dad, what do you guys need to do there to fix that up to get rail going through there?" He says, "We'd have to remove the whole damn thing, start all over again." I said, "Really?" He says, "It's too old."
And they can't fix it. That's
Right.
the other thing. We actually had a consultant that came in and spoke to all of us about that. Because there are many people that have said, why can't why can't we construct the rail system, get that going? And he says, it's in such bad disarray. There's nothing that they can do to repair it.
Well, and the sad thing is that because of the little hand carts, everybody thinks, well, if the hand carts can do it, it should be good, right? But you gotta remember the weight of a hand cart versus
Yeah.
the weight of rail, a locomotion. I mean,
It's crazy.
right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So- Yeah, good luck
There
there.
always seems to be a little conflict between TAMZ and MST. That's all.
Well, they're still supporting it, the SURF project. Okay, we'll go ahead and go to oral communications, and I'll start with Ms. Worthy on my right here. Thank you.
Oh, except one thing, and that is.
Nope,
4th of
too late.
I thought 4th of July was amazing, at least on my side.
Okay,
That's all.
Ms. Silva.
You know, thinking back on 4th of July, it was quite loud on the north end over on 9th Street. My cousin's dog was traumatized, never had bothered him before, and even now when he hears a loud sound, he just cowers. So it's sad to see the animals react. I know the officers were busy, that it was a busy, not just the 4th of July, but it started since Memorial Day. And it continues, not as often, but it continues. And I know that there was a fire that damaged a shed at the end of Elliott Street, and there was no human life lost, but there was 3 animals that were lost in that fire because of where they were in that area. So that was a sad thing. Monterey County Fair is coming up. On the Heritage Foundation. Our kickoff will be on Saturday, August 10th The fair will run from August 28th to September 2nd. So I hope a lot of you get to get out there, support our exhibitors. They spend 3 months raising their animal projects, and sometimes a friendly face from their hometown is a welcome sight to them. Even if you don't buy an animal, just get out there to support all of the exhibitors. Since our next council meeting will be on Monday, August 5th, just a reminder, as Maria said earlier, school will start on the 8th, so we're going to have lots of extra bodies on the streets, crossing streets, excited to be back to school. So just keep an eye out for the extra bodies out there. And that's all I have.
Mr. Funk?
Yeah, so real quick, yeah, the 4th was awesome. Other festivities around town kind of leading up to it have been great. And I just wanted to throw out the thanks to staff, Public Works that has done and keeps doing a great job around town and so forth. And obviously leading up to the 4th, and their, streets were looking great and everything, parks looking great. So very much appreciated. And then obviously on the 4th, the police department and fire department did amazing jobs. Starting in the morning with the fun stuff in respect to the parade and so forth, and a few other things, and festivities at the park, and then and going into the evening. So do appreciate the presence. Clearly, as the things took off, but now it sounds like there's other factors, a reason why there was less enforcement around town. So hopefully next year we can mitigate that and we won't have that distraction. But that being said, I mean, up until that point, there was a lot of enforcement around town, and it was great to see. I mean, I was hearing from a lot of folks, just seeing the presence. So much appreciated, and please pass along to your officers and staff that appreciation is noted. Thank you.
Ms. Orozco?
Yes, thank you. On behalf of Rotary, I want to thank everyone who came out to the 4th of July. We had a great celebration, all of the volunteers, the fire department, our police department. We're looking at kind of adding some committees to the 4th of July celebration. So we're looking for some volunteers who would like to be part of those subcommittees to help us with, again, the parade. Scott and Liz do a great job, and so did Monica with the parade. But it is a challenge to try to get everybody in line, and then have the announcer have all the information so he can announce who's, I mean, I was running back and forth trying to tell him who was coming up next, but once again, our barbecue tickets, we sold out on our ribs. And of course, all of that is for scholarships for our students. So we really do appreciate that. Also wanted to, we're having our next event, August the 10th. It's our annual golf tournament for Rotary. So if anybody wishes to donate, we'll have, again, a silent auction. So if anybody wishes to donate towards our silent auction, or if you'd like to help us sponsor the event, we would greatly appreciate it. Once again, all of those proceeds go towards scholarship. I also wanted to thank staff, Carmen and staff. I attended the Spanish workshop that was presented by the city along with the United Way at the Fairview Gym. Well attended by many of our residents who were really looking for information on the home buying process. The workshop was conducted in Spanish, and the presenter was very, very good. Carmen did an excellent presentation. Just to provide an update on the Santa Lucia project, I think folks are eager to learn more about what's happening. And Tavin, thank you again for also being there. But well attended, and I think folks are looking forward to just continuing to receive more information on what's going on and what's happening. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay. I have just a couple comments. Again, I want to thank Rotary for their very well done 4th of July. I was really impressed with the variety of music that was featured at the park this year. It was really sounded great. That reggae, Spanish music was really, my grandkids were jumping up and down with that music. They really liked it. So I was happy to see that. There's a couple of things I want to bring up. I believe this past week we had a fire at Retention Pond. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Mitchell, but the retention pond that's on the very north end of Canyon Creek, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, it caused quite a bit of smoke.
Yes, it did.
Okay. I happened to go by there like 2 weeks before that. Oh, by the way, I'm a new grandfather. My daughter gave birth to a beautiful little girl on We're in July, July 26th. Nope.
June
See,
26th, June 26th.
I'm pulling a Biden here, I'm sorry. Thank you. But we had my grandson, because she's in the hospital, he's 2 years old, couldn't be with mommy, so first time I'd actually been out to that kiddie park, but then I noticed a retention pond. And I think, and I'm thinking of all the residents that are over in Canyon Creek, what a waste of land, if you think about it. Here's a chain linked, gosh, it has to be what, 500 feet by 200 feet, if not more? A fenced in area, for what? I've been out there numerous times on any of the retention ponds through town. Even on its wettest day, the days that was raining 24/7, I've been out to at least the ones that I could see locally that I don't have to drive a car to. The ones over off of Fairview and Centennial, I believe. Hardly anything's in there. And I love what the city of Soledad has done. If you go up towards the high school, where it becomes a 2-lane road going to the high school, there's a huge part that's retention pond. 95% of the year, that's being used as a park for the community. And all we have is gated grass areas. And what do? Take up our fire department's time. I think in the future, we definitely should be looking at another park. I mean, I think of all the Chispa homes and all the folks that could benefit from that park on a daily basis. I think, why don't we do something with it? Take the fence down, you know?
Yeah, we have access to the park.
The park on the slough, but the retention pond, have you seen that one, Maria? Yes.
Depends on shallowness and steepness of the sidewalks. And so you can trade depth for land area, or you can make it more shallow, gradual. And one point, there's a steepness in the depth where the code, safety codes that put fence up. Building density, scratch, that means it's like, but a well designed one.
Well, this is pretty good size, and I didn't really see a huge drop off. And again, you're right. 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 Well, I'm looking at that and maybe we ought to do a study of it, because I honestly think that's such a waste of space that could be utilized better for, even as a soccer field for the kids down there. I mean, I can't see it being that difficult to do. If we can build a ramp to go down into the slough and have a park down there, I would imagine this. Exactly. Amen. Amen. Yeah.
Well, maybe with our system, fees that we pay and
I'm just throwing that out for a future thought. I mean, I'm looking at that and seeing, you see a hole in the ground and weeds. I see an opportunity. That's what I see. And yes, there is no money for that now. I get it. Trust me, I get that. But that's something that in the future, as a community, as we grow, I really think that we could add to our open space area and also mitigate future fire risk, because guess what? It'd be mowed down. Just a thought. And water. And again, it rains hard and it gets full of water. You're obviously, when it's raining hard, you're not gonna have the kids going out there to play. At least I wouldn't.
Well, we do that now with Canyon Creek Park.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what my nickname is for that park. But that particular retention pond you're talking about is a guy that's slid down that side of that thing numerous times over the years. It's way too steep to do anything with. It would take a ton of work to be able to make a usable area out of that. The sides are when you get in there and actually look at it and get off the flat areas, you know, that come out, extend on either side of the fence and actually get into where it drops down, it's pretty steep.
Well, what I'm thinking is that maybe you just create one entrance, like where there's obviously a gate there for vehicles to drive in and only allow entrance off of there. That's just a thought, just a thought. Again, I'm just throwing an idea out there for the future. It's not for today. On a personal note, I just wanted to let you all know that my last visit to Stanford was not as successful as I had hoped to. I was actually hoping that somewhere, somehow, they were going to mitigate my issues with my eyes. At this point, they're waiting for this right eye to stabilize before they attempt what they call a keratotomy. Basically, it's just a shaving of the eye, the face of the eye, shaving it to make it smoother so I'll have more clarity. They want to wait at least a year to make sure that it's stable and that I'm not rejecting the cornea, et cetera, et cetera. The bad news I got was that pretty much my left eye is gone. Yeah, I can see some light out of it, but when I'm in a grocery store, I always kind of keep this hand out because I don't want to be bumping into folks. Okay. That said, though, I really have contemplated whether to run or not this year, and I've decided that I would like to run these last 2 years, and I guarantee you I will not run again after these 2 years, because not only the development of the future Vista Lucia Estates, but also the need for a new substation. Believe it or not, I made some phone calls internally to PG&E. I have still friends in low places. They haven't even heard about it, the guys that actually do the planning for this thing. And I said, what? I said, but staff's being told that there's movement. And yes, we've gotten a few emails that says there's movement, but the guys that actually do the planning of it hadn't even heard of it yet. So I said, so what do we do? So they made some suggestions. I followed up on their suggestions. And when I called Randy Pura, he said he'd also had not heard from PG&E. So I've made that connection with the planning engineers and Randy, hopefully moving this project along. For that aspect and a few other ones, I lack eyesight, but I do not lack vision for this community. And so if you will support me for 2 more years with my bumbling of the agendas, I guarantee you I will not run again, but I do feel that I'm very committed to making sure that we get the darn housing and we get that substation, because both of those are going to be a huge benefit to our community. I can safely say that if that substation isn't built, there's going to be a lot of development that won't get done in Gonzales, because there is just not enough power here, period. And there's really no other way. They can upsize a little bit on the substation here in town, but not much. They can upsize the line coming from Soledad, but let's see, if I'm in Gonzales, do I really want my power coming all the way from Soledad? Not if I'm a business. You know, the further away that the power facility is coming, the more car accidents, tractor accidents. So I'd rather have a substation that's sitting right here in our community, just right up the hill, being fed 115 kV. So for those reasons, I've decided that I'm going to go ahead and run. Not sure if I'll win, but I'm definitely going to put my best foot forward. And if need be, I'll take my white cane and walk. I am planning to walk the entire city slowly but surely. So that was my announcement. I just want to let you all know. And again, if there's challenges out there, okay, bring it on. Like I said, I'm ready. That's my part. Is there anyone, excuse me, I didn't see anything from city manager report. Carmen, do you have anything?
Yeah, just a few quick items. I'll let Jason talk a little bit more, but we got notice we received some money coming in. If he wants to, that will be coming forward later on for you guys at an upcoming meeting. I also want to thank the community for doing their part during 4th of July. Yes, we still had activity, but it was downscaled, at least in my area. And I also want to thank staff for having a well thought out plan of action, both fire and PD. You know, had strategies in place that worked. I saw people get cited, and so we'll have an update and report on that at the next meeting. Also, just want to remind folks that we do have some senior programming coming in August. Some of that was postponed due to the instructors being sick, but it's going to be starting back up in August. So keep out look out for that information. Don't miss it because it's got some exciting opportunities that it will be available. And I also do want to share that the meeting, the housing meeting was quite successful. We had about 50 people show up, all very interested in the housing and just received a lot of really good information. And I do want to note that unfortunately we got asked about the English one, and we had no one turn out to the English one. So we do plan to hopefully have more opportunities like that, but just want to point out that it's important to stay on top of the announcements. They're coming out in your utility bills as well as our social media page. So want to make sure you don't miss opportunities like these, because United Way staff came out and did a real fantastic job just talking about different financial aspects to be cognizant of as folks prepare to look at potentially buying a home. And so we want to keep offering opportunities like that. Make sure it's on your calendar, make sure you don't miss it. And then I just want to say kudos to Patrick and everybody that worked really hard on getting the final executed SRF loan agreement. So it's only taken 2.5 years or so, but we can say we finally got a full executed agreement. So we should celebrate that work, because it's been pulling teeth. And that's all I have.
Carmen, quick question regarding the community garden. How's that going? I've had some people ask, I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to do. We have all kind of had a little conversation about trying to see if certain people can maybe put their own boxes out there. I'm not sure, are things still alive? There's some things that are and some that aren't. So that was a question that I had regarding that. Thank you.
Yeah, so I do have a good update on that. We actually met with all the partners, Blue Zone, Save the Whales, Monterey County, and others at the site last Friday. And there's a plan in place. Save the Whales is going to be coming at least monthly to do activities with kids there when school year starts back up again. And they will be notifying us, or not the city only, but the various organizations involved as to what the need is out there. We are going to put some more irrigation in. Some things, the sunflowers look beautiful when they were alive and they started dying. And so, people had to deadhead them. I do want to encourage everyone. I think there's still a question of exactly that. What can I do? What can I do? The tomato plants are beautiful. When I saw them last week, they were overgrowing with tomatoes. They should be ripe, ready to be picked now. So, people are picking the fruit, the veggies and fruit out there. And I encourage anybody that wants to do anything in there. It's a space, but a space for everyone. Anyone can access it. But I do encourage folks to reach out to Jessica Albor Olmedo, who is helping to coordinate where things are going to go. We're going to print out signs as to here's the succulents, here's the rose garden, here's this and that, so that people can go and plant their own stuff. So we'll be putting those up shortly as well, and hope to be a little bit more coordinated. There is asks from other community members about having their own family boxes. We are open to that as well, because I think that will encourage them to help maintain the greater space. So we are looking at that, and Olinga is willing to take a lead on some of that as well. So if they are interested in potentially having a space there, have them reach out to Jessica, and we'll make sure that happens and gets it coordinated.
Great. All right. Are we moving the closed session into the August 5th meeting? Okay.
Mike, I can't hear you. I don't know if that was a question for me, but
we're going to go into close, but you didn't have anything specifically you wanted to communicate to the council in close, right? So this is probably just more of a administrative thing between the council and myself.
no, just apologies. I can't be there in person. Good thing I lasted through the Zoom meeting, but I'm pretty ill. So thanks for, your willingness to move it to the next meeting, but nothing else.
Doing any true evaluations. We're just going to be talking about a couple procedural matters in closed session for just a few minutes. So you can go back to bed.
Thank you.
Take care. Feel better.
So at this point, the council will move into a closed session. Any member of the public may address the council on a closed session item appearing on the agenda. Speakers have a limited time of 3 minutes. Please be brief and to the point, and we are discussing the city council will recess to closed session to consider personnel matter pursuant to government code section 54957B1, city manager evaluation. And so we stand closed session.
One quick, Rick, did you have a final tally? Yeah, close enough. Right.
Okay.
But basically it came out 91% no, 9% yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Thank you
I'll-
very
I'll
much.
Verify, perfect.
Thanks so much.
I'll email them back.
Appreciate you coming here and going through all that stuff.
Thank you.
Mike, I can be on if you need me for a few minutes, or I will just sign off. Nope, never mind.